Hi everyone and welcome into this week's My Weekly CBS Fix. Hope you had a good week. This week's video is dedicated as a refuah shlema for Avram Shalom Favish ben Brana. We have a complete recovery refuah shlema. This week's parasha, Rashi teaches us a psychological teaching which possibly we can connect to the recent events. The Torah tells us about the sota, the wayward woman, and part of the process of finding out whether or not this woman was guilty of committing adultery or not. She was brought to the temple. She was made to drink certain water. And right after that part of the Torah then teaches us about the Nazir. The Nazir is someone who accepts upon himself not to drink any wine, a certain status of holiness. And Rashi tells us that anybody who sees the wayward woman as she is being brought to drink these certain waters, which the miraculous waters would test, was kind of like an early polygraph test, except Hashem was conducting the test to see if she was guilty or not guilty. So Rashi says anybody who sees such a woman being brought, he should abstain from wine. So the question is, what's the connection between the two? What's Rashi trying to tell us? Somebody who sees this woman, so he should then pick wine and take wine, and he'll say, you know what, I'm not going to drink wine anymore for at least the next 30 days. So what's the connection? So the connection is, and Rashi was specific when he picked this mitzvah, and according to Rashi, the Torah is very specific. Any woman that may have done an act of adultery, a lot of times it was wine that brought the person to do that act of adultery. And if a person thinks to himself, hey, what brought that person to do that certain sin? It was possibly wine. People drink wine, they get loose, and unfortunately they lose certain inhibitions. And it causes a person to act in ways that they certainly wouldn't act if they weren't drunk. And Rashi is teaching us that the response to that is to strengthen ourselves in that specific area. And if wine can do something bad, so I'm going to strengthen myself and not drink wine. So Rashi is teaching us that there's a psychological connection between the sin that's being done and that we should then strengthen ourselves in that particular sin. This week, or last week, many people throughout the world watched a video of a police officer putting his knee on top of somebody else's neck, top of George Floyd's neck, and killing him. And Rashi is telling us that watching such a video has a psychological effect on us. And watching that video, we all have to think, what can we gain from watching that video? How can we make ourselves better? And we have to think, well, what caused that to happen? What caused that to happen, possibly, is basic hatred. We're watching somebody who just killed somebody because they hated that person because of his skin color. And the flip to that then would be that we have to start encouraging ourselves to have even more love for our fellow Jews and more love for mankind overall. And we have to do the exact opposite psychological prompt in order to outdo, and also to uproot that which our eyes saw and which caused something within, made an indelible impression on our souls. And we have to do something to not only outdo it, but also to uproot it as well. And in a certain sense, right now is the time that we are being called to action to love even more. And whether it's our own family members, whether it's distant family members, whether it's the people on our streets, our neighbors, and then beyond, and have more of a call of solidarity to us. And that's what Rashi is teaching us. Anybody who sees an indiscretion done on a certain thing, you specifically have to try to fix it in the same way that the indiscretion was done, that the wickedness was done. You have to then turn it and flip the script on it and be able to use it in a good way in order to strengthen things that it shouldn't happen again. A little message, of course, much more should be said on this topic, but we try to keep it very limited. But that's something that we can do. We can resolve to love each other a little bit better. Have an amazing Shabbos. Talk to you soon.